right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Craps here with John on Casino Gaming TV from the Pro Craps channel. So let's get it going here. We're going to start our morning warm-up again like we always do. A little bit of fun to get started here. We'll do 320 across like we've been doing every day for the last, it seems like month, I think, right? I probably got about a 50-50 record. I should go back and rewatch and see what my record is on these throws, but we're going to go 320 across. This is basically Brian from Hawaii Crap Shooter saying, hey, you got 4 rolls in you. Can you make money in 4 rolls? Which is a great way to look at life on the craps table. But I've kind of morphed that into this where I'm going to say, I've got 350. What am I going to do with it? This is basically 350 throwaway dollars. I've made my goal, or I've lost it all but 350, and we're going to go all in for one more crack at it. So that's the idea here. Let me get a point established. We'll go with the white dice, and we get a yo 11. Doesn't matter. Get a nice point established here. Oh, aces. There's field, horn, back to back. 5. All right, we got a point of 5. I'm nervous about this. All the fields, right? I always say see a horn hop the reds because something bad's gonna happen. We're at 320 across. I got $10 on the any craps. I have my $5 Tulalip Casino in Washington. Good luck chip today. Usually I have a subscriber chip out here, but I found that in the laundry. And I thought that's got to be a sign. It's probably the cleanest chip ever left that casino by now. Here we go. Roll 1. Can we get something out of this thing? Yes, we do. 3 and a 3, hard 6. That's cool. We lose our craps, which ain't cool. We'll put it back. We'll take $70 for that 6. We're going to take the 4 and 10. We're going to regress from the outside in. That's going to bring $120 to the rack on that first shot. We're going to regress down to 160 as we go. 3 shots in. 516, a repeater. Beautiful. Beautiful. $60 or $70 again. Pay 70. Like last time, we're going to reduce our 5 and 9 down to a quarter. That brings another 100. So there's 100. There's 200. Craps number loses, by the way. And I'll put the 20 in front of that. So there's 220. We take this 20 here. We're working towards the 50 of the 350 we started with. Last craps number out here. Last roll of the table. Let's see if we can't make ourselves even. Then we'll talk about what's next. Come on, baby. Ooh, look at that, a 516. What do they call it? The KitchenAid mixer, whatever we're calling it now until the big fight is settled. That's great. Another $70. So we did lose all 3 of our craps numbers, but this is just there to kind of not have a wasted roll. It's $30 you're donating, but that's kind of fine. 6 and 8, we're at 60. They'll be down to 50. We're going to reduce them down. Now we're at 160 across. That's a great place to be. In the rack, I'm going to take my greens here. Now I have 320. If I take the reds out, there's 10, 20, 30. That's the craps numbers that I lost. Boom. My rack is back to square. I got $20 in profit, and I got 160 out here. So in 3 rolls, my profit level is 180 on this particular shooter. 180. That ain't bad. When I do my rolling at night, I say this every single night when I'm rolling live, building up that 10,000 rolls database. 3 hits is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for 3. It's that short game. I'm not even looking for 5. Give me 3 hits, I can regress down and be guaranteed about $200 in profit. This is a fantastic way to approach it. My show today is about the short game. This is the ultimate short game. 3 hits and out. And I got a great level bet out here. Now, if I happen to throw a 7 right here, my profits was restricted to $20, but I could up and walk. I could make this 44 inside. I can make this whatever the hell I want to make it. I could lock up $100 and leave 60 out here and be fine. Okay, this is my goal though. My goal was to get to 160 and free play it from here. That's what we're gonna do. There's a 9, 639. That'll pay $35. And what I'm gonna do here is try and basically collect and then press on each number. We're over $50 in profit now. Locked profit. This is locked up profit. 314. That's going to pay 50 for 1. I'm going to get $4 change for that nickel. There's a collect on the 4. We've collected on the 9. We have another 9. Now I'm pressing. The 9's going to press now to color. Once I've collected on it once, 35 bucks, I'm going to go till I can get a black chip out of it. Same with the 4. 415, same plan here. 5 gets collected on, 35 bucks. First hit is a collect. Then we're going to press to black. Another 9, 5, 4, 9, 60 pays 84. We'll do 85 for 1. I'm going to make that 9 look like 75 bucks. Now it collects 105. Everything else comes to the rack. That's my pressing scheme. I want to get everything up to a black. I want to get a black, and then I'm going to go to the roof. Essentially, that's how I do it when I have a chance to. There's a 5, 325, same deal. Pays 35. That's a full press. That's your puck being off, by the way. New point's going to be a 9. Look at me throwing 5s and 9s again. Let's go. It's an ace deuce. 1, 2, 3. Don't matter. There's my 3, 1, 4. That's beauteous right there. That pays 50 bucks. 4, 1. We collected before. Now we're going to press it. I'm going to press the 4 and 10 both to 50 because that will have them collecting 100 bucks for me. Okay, they're both going to be collecting black. The 9's collecting black. The 5, 6, and 8 are on their way. Right, my rack is happy. Here we go. 1, 2, 3 again. Another ace deuce. Random Randy's making us money this morning. So 4, 2, 6. All right, that's the first one. So we're going to collect on that 6. $35 winner. Let's lock it. There's a 4. That's beautiful. 50 bucks. 4, 2 pays 100. First black chip coming into the rack. It almost looks like I know what I'm doing here, but this is completely random luck right there. 5, 3, 8. Of course, Random Randy came today with a vengeance. I'm sure it's my Tallulah chip that's giving me the juice here. So 8's going to be a collect the first time. 6 and 8 are now on press mode. Here we go. There's a 10. 6, 4, 10 on the end. I need to get a vig out. 5 bucks for 5 1s. That'll cost me $2 to get 100. That's awesome. We've collected a black chip now on both the 4 and the 10. They're both going to the ceiling. Ace deuce. 3, 1, 4. Yeah. That pays 100 for 2. We're going to make both the 4 and 10, press them jointly to a black each. And they're just going to march now if I can get in there. 5, 3, 2, 5. That'll pay, 5's got 70 or 60 on it. That'll pay 75, 85. 85 for 1. It pays 84 out of the box. Again, it goes to 75, so we can collect a black on it. Everything else is coming back into the rack. The rack is looking stout right now. There's our 7. Okay, we burned it out. That's fine, right? The Elephant Graveyard claims how much money? 200, 350. It claims 400 bucks, 410 actually, which sucks, right? Losing 410 sucks. The Elephant Graveyard does what it does. However, we were locking that whole time. We locked in 1, 2, 350. There's 400. 25, 445 locked on that roll. Okay, could have been 800, right? Could have been 800 because we lost the 4 that was out there. But again, once you hit some kind of a number, and again, that's the message of the day anyway, right? Once you hit a number on your short game, or whatever you want to call this kind of a game, you're free to go either way. You're free to go. Free to go high, or free to get the hell out. Go, go, go. There it is. Good morning, everybody. Let's get back over here. And let's just chat it up. How y'all doing? A lot going on in the traps world. I'll tell you that. Let's take a look here at who's all here. Who was first today? Cajun Craps was first today. Good morning. I'll give you the highlighted spot there. Good morning to you. Texas Dicer's here. Chili's here. I see Old Bay Craps is here. Crooked River Craps is here. Old Bay Craps is here. You guys are putting out some content now on the regular, which is awesome. Chris says, good morning, D-Gens. Good morning, Chris. How you doing? Yeah, lots happening here. Let's give it a little look and see what's going on in the world here. So the first thing we're going to talk about in the come out roll today, Friday Night Fights. I just reached out to Jeff and Carl. I'm free tomorrow night, so hopefully we're on for the week and get back to momentum on this thing. I know that, Mac, Jeff, Mid-Atlantic Craps, AZ, they go live every single night with all these competitions. A lot of times you see the same guys in there and it's much more freeform. This is such a structured kind of a contest thing. It's got a different feel to it. So hopefully you're all still enjoying the Friday Night Fights and will be able to join us on Friday night. Finally, I get to play. I don't like playing in my own competitions, but whatever. I signed up for it as a demonstration one day. Now I'm in. So I guess I'll see you there on Friday night. So that's it. It's on. It's going to be great. Let's see. Good morning to who else is here? I just saw Lou show up. Hey, good morning, Lou. We were talking over chat earlier about ways to play craps against one another or against other shooters versus yourself. That's going to be a show topic coming up. So appreciate the conversation that you started there. That's cool. All right. What else is happening? Ken Unfiltered. Boy, if you haven't watched Ken from Ken Knows Gambling, Ken's a really good friend of mine. I love Ken. Ken put out 2 videos yesterday. One was his normal kind of, 1 minute short, kind of advice on how to play thing. The other one was kind of a rant, right? He went completely unfiltered. And I actually owe him a phone call. Ken's a great friend of mine. I love Ken. Maybe, better choice of words could have been used somewhere in there, I suppose. But he makes some good points. And I think you should watch that. Ken is definitely, with Ken, you don't get any filter, number one. And you don't get any BS, number 2. So Ken's going to tell you what Ken thinks. And I think there's a beautifulness to that. Or is that a word? There's something to that where you could be offended by what he said or how he said it. But frankly, the fact that he was able to say it, had the gumption to get out there and say what was on his mind, I think that's to be applauded. And I think to his point, if YouTube shuts him down for what he said, that makes his point. You know what I'm saying? And again, I think he brings up some interesting things, and I want to get to specifically what he said. But I think there's a part that I'll disagree with on him, right? One of the points that he makes in his video is you got to pick a side. He's talking some hardcore politics in this one. So I'm not going to get into politics with you, but he's saying pick a side, pick a side, pick a side. And I think to some degree, the pick a side mentality is what got us here. So I'll disagree with you on that, Ken. I think, yes, I have a side. I know most of us have a side, which is great. I think picking a side and digging your heels in and fighting the other side is why 2022 is a shit show. It's the reason why we're here. And I think craps, I do this in craps all the time, right? Picking a side, place bets versus come bets. Pick a side, dice control versus it's impossible. Pick a side, light side versus dark side. Pick a side, hybrid versus everything else, right? Pick a side, king dice versus George. I mean, on dice control, whatever you got to pick a side all the time. You end up with factions. You end up with silos. You end up with a mess. So I don't think picking a side is the answer. I think education is the answer. I think learning how to communicate cleanly, freely, and with data to back you up, and with convincing arguments and stylistically, is where we get to. I think you cannot have black and white on every single issue. We got to start working back towards the gray, and the gray feels wishy-washy and fence city and whatever. I think I already said wishy-washy. The fence feels like that, but frankly, without that gray area, there's no room for anything. It's going to be our way or their way on every single topic you have, and it's just a matter of who was the last person to scream loudest. That ain't the way to run a country. It ain't the way to play craps. It ain't the way to do a lot of things, right? So what I'm doing here on my show, as you have well known, I'm taking on topics like dice control. I'm taking on, the come versus placing. I've done that so many times. I'm taking on these topics that I know divide some people for the reason of A, learning how to argue it correctly, B, finding facts that support both sides of the argument, and C, making some decisions that maybe bring us in here instead of keeping us out here. So I'm approaching my channel that way. I'm approaching some of the lectures that I do in that way, and I'm approaching some of the topics that I pick in that way. Maybe someday that becomes the way we can talk and have discourse on everything else. So I'm hoping that that's coming clear to you all, right? That's the reason why I pick what I talk about, and the reason why I talk the way that I do is I want to force conversations that are uncomfortable. And I think that by digging your heels in and being dichotomous, you don't force conversations, you force arguments and fights and division. And I think that's wrong. So Ken, I love you to death. I disagree with you on that one point for sure. I also disagree. I agree with Ken on the first points that he was making, that where people were just coming after him and his clients and his supporters. And that's just kind of crap. So we can leave the personal attacks out of the stuff, right? I think in general, if you don't like somebody, don't watch their channel, but to come out and attack them and their subscribers is wrong. And I support Ken on that. And again, watching Ken, don't have your kids around when you watch that video. If you watch it, don't bring your kids to it. It's interesting, and you get to see a passion in that man it's evident. It's very evident that Ken's done with a few things. So that said, there's language and words in there that I probably wouldn't have chose to use publicly, but I'm curious to see what YouTube does with that video. If they do turn him off, then he made the biggest point he can make by being shut down, which is, I think, interesting. All right, moving on. Mac is unfettered. Jeff Mid-Atlantic Craps came out with a great video last night. You got to watch his video last night. Got to watch his video. He talks about a lot of things. It's only about 12 minutes long, so it's worth your time. He talks about being retired. Congratulations, and we're all jealous of you for being retired. He talks about his political race. He ran for office, didn't quite cross the finish line, which sucks. I was pulling for him. And Jeff, I still want one of the yard signs. I want one of your Jeff McMahon yard signs for my house, for my wall. That'd be a piece of, to me, that's a piece of Craps history. I would love to have that as a collector's item. So send me one of those, will you? But Jeff's going to be able to change now. He's got more time to dedicate to the channel. He's going to change directions. And I'll let his video speak for itself, but he's going to do some different things on his channel. He's going to start a new channel, it sounds like, and I'll publicly offer my services there, Jeff. If you want to use me to talk about the Ecamm Mac side of things on your tech channel, you know I'm your guy. I can get you all hooked up there. I'm looking forward to what you do on the OBS side of things. I'm using OBS for my nighttime shows, and I hate it. I just hate OBS. There's so many glitches and issues with that thing. I fight that software every single night, where my Ecamm, I just turn it and go. So I'm looking forward to what you have coming up next, Mac. I think it's going to be more lives and a lot of, you have some good plans. So I'm looking forward to seeing your channel take a different direction and grow. It's going to be really cool. Now, we talked about this, right? John is undeterred. So Ken's unfiltered, Mac's unfettered, I'm undeterred. And what that means is I'm still going after it. I was talking to Greg, and 555 Craps Greg, and he reminds me all the time. He's like my good angel. He's in my ear all the time, like, hey, make sure you go off the rails with some things. Dice control being one of them. I'm undeterred. I'm coming after the topics that I think are difficult, right? I'm going to go and throw now 30,000 throws to make dice control a part of my life, right? We're going to have the conversation almost every day about it. I'm just going to be undeterred. I'm going to run strategies hundreds of times on my own and with you to keep the message out there. Like we did today, short play. How do you play with a short stack? How do you keep safe? How do you run bankroll? Like, I'm not going to tell you to take out a loan and go to the casino with 50K and try and take him to the cleaners. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you how to go there with a $1,000 or 500 or 300 and play to a level, right? I'm undeterred in my message and the things that I feel passionate about. So you can expect the more of the same from me. And again, on some of these topics, I've got to dig my heels in. I'm going to have to go in and just kind of be like, man, we're talking dice control, even if you all hate it. Even if some of you hate that part of it, we're still talking about it, because I think, A, it's important to get answers, and B, it's important to learn how to have discourse publicly, especially, and I'll be leading that effort. So just, you can expect more of that from me. I'm not just gonna, hide over here and not talk about the things that I don't want to talk about and be uncomfortable. I'm going to come after it, love it or hate it. All right, on a good note, fantasy football. make sure you jump in the Discord, get on the Fantasy Football channel, and DM Chris from Dice DGen. He's going to run the fantasy league for us. He's got maybe 2 leagues happening. We'll see if there's interest in it. So get in there. We got to get it done, I think, in the next couple of weeks because it's time for drafts. So we got to get rolling here before the season starts up. For you football fans, let's get after it, man. Fantasy football is so fun. So, all right, that's the come out roll. That's a lot today. And I got 2 more segments before we start throwing dice here. The next thing to talk about is this, Craps 101. This question came up yesterday from the Justice Jen during the show, and I didn't get a chance to answer it, so I want to answer it here. She says, some of us newbies have a primer or need a primer on dice set calls. I have no idea what you mean when you say 6-2, 6-4 coming out or whatever, so when I get to the table today, I'm going to address some of that. So I'll zoom into I won't be able to zoom the camera, but I'll make sure I call this out as we're going. A lot of the dice set calls that we make are both as we set and as they roll. And I'll explain to you as I do this morning how that works. But essentially what you're doing is you're calling out, if you're a dice setter, what dice are on top and in front. If you're throwing the one kind of toss, if you're throwing my kind of toss, I'm calling out the dice, the faces that are on the inside. And I'll give you a better look at that at the table with the bigger dice to help that make sense. But I don't want to ignore your question. I'll get to it at the table here when we go out there before I start the rollout today. So I want to make sure I address that. I'll probably leave the screen up when I go to that segment for you. All right, next thing is this, your daily dose of DI. So this came up yesterday from our friend Darkside, who's in our chat today. And he was actually watching me last night play too. I was playing, I rolled 120 something rolls last night. It's probably too many in my DI practice. The day before, I had the 4 or the 6 throws out of the 11 that I didn't make any money on. And I had 4 where I made a ton of money. Last night, the complete opposite. Last night, I made money on all but 2 rolls. Out of, I think, 11 shooters, I made money on 9 of them. And he says, your Randy throwing made money and your DI lost bigly, except the dark side. Okay, now again, last night, I had 17 point winners, 17 point losers. The night before, I had 11 losers and like 3 winners. Here's the thing. Random throwing, like I do in the morning, made more money yesterday. I think, and I've said this before, the random thrower is more likely to go off on a huge roll than the controller is. The dice controller is looking to be in a pocket. The dice controller is I hate to say controller, the dice influencer is looking to be in a pocket, looking for sustainable, 7 to 11 to 15 rolls all the time. This takes so much focus and determination to get it right. Getting in a pocket's hard to do. Right? I think when you set the dice, what I'm learning is that the dice set matters a lot. And if your set's off or if you're throwing it incorrectly, you're going to produce more 7s. I think DIs and DCs have more short rolls, short meaning like 10 or less, than random throwers do. The problem with the random thrower is that you're just as likely to see a 0.7 out as you are a 30. The dice controller, the 0.7 out's the aberration, as is the 30. They're going to be more in this inside piece. So yeah, yesterday didn't work out, right? The random person made us more money than the DI did. Last night, the complete opposite happened. So I think as I work on my dice influencing journey, what I'm trying to do is pocket myself in that 6 to 10 range all the time. If I go beyond 10, fantastic, we make more money. If I go less than 6, that's a mistake. And that's how I want to look at the 6 and below as a mistake, as the greater than 10 as a bonus, and we'll call it that way there. That's my thoughts on it. I think random is pure random. Hardcore random is this. You're going to see 2s and 30s. On a controlled shot, you're going to see 6s and 12s in that range. That's what I think the difference is. And that's what I'm going for. That is my goal, my take on it. And again, take it for what it is. That's how I see this. And that's I think you'll find that play out here. I think as you watch my throws and I show you some statistics, and I'm going to show you some stats here in a little bit that really bear this out. I'm almost at 720 on my nighttime show, and actually I can probably share a screen with you here. Let me get my browser up. Hold on a second. Let me change to this view here, and you can see this is actually the morning show. This is not including this morning's throws. We have 132 throws in. We're at an SRR of 6. If we look at the data for this, I think I can click that. Come on, there we go. There's the data from the morning show. Okay, this is 130 something random throws. Look at the distribution, please. This is exactly within a roll or two what you'd expect. Look at that. The 7s are exactly on point. The 6s and 8s are exactly on point. The 5s and the 9s are essentially on point. We had one extra 9 that we're supposed to have. That's a perfect bell curve, right? Perfect bell curve. The box numbers are basically where they ought to be. Everything is perfect, right? We've got points made and points missed are within a couple of shots of each other, like you'd expect. This is pure random, me throwing them as hard as I can, and we're getting into like the number of rolls we're seeing, right? 0.7 out, the 3s, the 4s, right? And we have a couple of longies in here. If you switch this over and we look at the DI practice, which is my last night's show, let me go to the practice. I get a new tab actually. We'll go to DI practice. On this one, this is the 683 now. Check this out. Let's zoom in here. That's not a perfect bell curve. I've got 680 something rolls in and my bell curve is not perfect. It's not perfectly random, right? I'm seeing way more 5s, way more 8s, right? A little bit more 10s, more 11s, more 12s, right? I'm seeing more of certain numbers that I'm actually kind of aiming for. My dice set does matter. I'm seeing more box numbers than I ought to, more inside numbers than I ought to, more hard ways than I ought to. So over 700 rolls almost, right? I'm seeing what I expected to see, which is more in the pocket. I'm way more. Look at all these rolls that are between 6 and 15. That's the pocket I want to be in. There's a lot of green. There's a lot of rolls that were in that pocket, right? I have a higher number of rolls that were way out of the pocket. And I think I'm too many shorties in here. But even on a 4 roller, I'm making money. Right, you know me, I'm making money on 4 rolls. So even though it's red, it's green in terms of my rack. So when I look at what I'm doing, even as a novice dice thrower, we're making a difference already. I'm seeing a difference between pure random and what I'm doing at night. Now, this is a far cry from 10,000 rolls, for sure, but we're on the way to it. This will be the first 720. Interesting stuff. I'm already seeing some interesting things, and I think that it bears some visual on our parts. I think we should be looking at this thing for what it is, right? It doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a whole lot to make a big difference in the world of throwing dice. A couple numbers here and there can really change the outcomes. And last night, for example, I had a run there last night where I had 8 6s in like 11 rolls, and I said, hey, let's, after that, a new point came out. I said, hey, let's change our set to try and target that 6. And I threw an immediate 7, right? I think there's something to the setting thing. I just don't know what it is yet. But again, we're there. We're rolling 10,000 rolls in the next month or so, another 10,000. And I'm going to log 10,000 rolls here in the morning, starting with what you see in front of you here. So with that said, I want to talk about, let's move over to one more screen here. Let's talk about our short stack plays. That's where I was yesterday. So the short stack we talked about yesterday, is it the key to winning? Right? I think these 3 hits and down, 1 hit YOLOs, that's the way to lock profit early in your roll. I think if you're going to be a right side player, you've got to play a short game. You've got to lock early your initial output and a little bit of profit as fast as you can. That's a short stack or short game mentality, right? A short stack is playing a short game with a little tiny bit of money, okay? And again, that money could come from you've won your goal and you have excess to play with. That's what I did yesterday. Yesterday, I played with excess money. We said, let's take our short stack that was born from me winning some money and turn it into more money. That's why I was more aggressive. Today, we're going to look at a short stack play or two that is the opposite of that, where you've lost everything you have and you're down to this amount of money. How do you play that money safely? Different mentality of a short stack. I think both are worth pursuing. We should look at how do you play with 6 units, 6 basic betting units. If you can break them down, that's great. I will break them down today. Look at it as mini sessions with smaller goals, and your goal is different. If I'm on profit play, I'm looking to rack and stack. If I'm looking at rebuilding my stack, rebuilding myself back to play levels, I might be looking at ways to increase my bet levels, which I will try and do today. So that's the idea behind the short stack play. We're going to keep playing these things out for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to try everything I do here. I'm going to try with a short stack. No matter what the strategy is, I'm going to play with a tiny bit of money and see how resilient we can be with one or two shooters worth and working our way through it. So I think the short stacks, to me, are critical. Now, somebody chatted me this yesterday. This is from a subscriber who left a comment. And I typed out what he said because, of course, the picture is kind of small. He said, I heard you say that it's better to have 200 in the rack and leave 500 on the table. He thinks it's better to have 700 in the rack and start again, okay? If you leave 160 on the table and then you start getting to 75 and 100. I think he's reacting to, there's a point in time yesterday where I had locked up some money. I think we were assuming we had a profit of 200 coming in or 150 coming in, and I had an extra 150 to play with. With that 150, I recouped my 150 and I profited 200. So I had 150 to play it again. I had 200 new profit in my rack, and I said to you all, I'm happy with that. My initial goal was 200. I made another 200, so I've doubled my goal. I'm out there for, I think it was 160 or whatever it was, and I had another 150 sitting in my rack ready to play a second time, and I said, now we're gonna press to the moon, right? And I pressed that all the way up, and I collected some more money with it. We got up to like 420 or 460, whatever it was on the felt there, on that secondary press, and I lost it. And I said, I'm okay with losing that because I had brought back money. I lost 420 and I had 480 that I'd brought in an extra profit in the rack. So I felt like at the time, although I could have had the whole thing, $1,000, like this morning where I had $400 out there and 400 in my rack, I could have brought it all back and left with 800. I made the decision, I'm happy with the 400 that I had locked up. Therefore, I'm going to take the other 400 that's out there still and just try and have a home run with it. That's a decision that I made as a degenerate, right? That's kind of like, hey, we already got the profit that we're looking for and then some. Let's be aggressive with the excess. If you have the excess to play with, that's an okay move, right? If that excess represents money you lost last week, you bring that shit back and you go home, right? That's the smarter play there. I'm just showing you how to be aggressive with a short stack and like, keep in half, play in half, keep in half and play in half. And that's what I was trying to get through yesterday. Today, it'll be a little bit more of keeping a little bit less than half and playing a little bit harder to try and build up our stack a little bit, but from lower betting levels. That's going to be the plan today. So hopefully that answers the question and maybe clarifies something if you all had questions about the way I said that yesterday. And there we go. Let's get in there and play some dice. Let's go back to the table here. And I'm going to go to this table view first that has, I think, let's see, this is the one. Whoa, that's ugly. I want to go here. Why is that so gross looking? Let's go back to Jen's question, the Craps 101 question. There we go. And before I start playing, I want to zoom into this thing right here. Let's go ahead and look at the big dice. Throw them out there for you. There they are, the big dice. And let's talk about the dice sets and the way that we call them out. So first things first, if you're going to throw the standard kind of, grab the dice and backhand throw them, we call it the par toss. That's the golden touch. Probably 90% of dice throwers throw it this way, okay? When you call a dice set out, what they call is the top and the front. So I'm going to face this to you, okay? So for example, if we set the hard ways, where I set them like this with the 6s on the side and the 4s on top, this set, I'll do it this way so you can see it. This set is called the 4-2-4-2 set. You have the 4s on top of the dice and the 2s facing you. That's how we call it out. So if somebody says run the 4-2-4-2, that's what this is, the 4-2-4-2. If somebody wants to run a 6-2, it looks like this. The 6s will be on top and the 2s are facing you. If somebody says like Waylon runs the 5-6-3-5, there's a 5 and a 6 and a 3 and a 5. That's the Waylon set. So it's 5-6 in the front, 3-5 on the other side. That's how we call this set. So it's what's on top and what's facing you, one die at a time. So 5-6-3-5. That's how we yell our sets out when guys are setting dice. For me, when I throw the chopper or the helicopter style toss, I don't set that way. For example, last night I was setting for a point. I had a point of 5, and I was trying to get a dice set that would get me more inside numbers, trying to hit the 5. What I set was the kissing sets. So what I do is the 3 is on top. I'll show it to you this way so you can see it better. I did the 3-2 set. So for me, a 3-2 set is the 3 and the 2, but the 2 is face down on top of the 3. So for me, I keep the number that I'm looking for. I keep those numbers on the inside and I stack them like this. Okay, that's how we call our dice set. So in fact, what you're looking at now is the 2-6-3-5 set. as it faces you, the shooter. So that's how dice setters set the dice. What sets they choose completely up to the person, right? There's books and theory and tons of data on how folks choose the set, but that's how when somebody says this, what they're doing, that's what that typically means. It's right die or left die, right die for the most part, and top and front. That's how that works, okay? On the calls themselves, let's get a roll. Let's roll the dice. Oh my gosh, that was awful. There we go. This is my result. My result, I rolled the dice against the wall. It was a 5-3-8 easy 8. Okay. Generally speaking, when the stick man calls the dice, calls the roll, he's going to call the big number ahead of the small number. You never say it's a 3-5-8. He'll never say that. He'll say it's a 5-3-8. And we say 8 easy, or the 8 came easy, because as you know, the hard way is the 4-4 hard 8. That's the hard way. You might say 8 the hard way, 8 came hard. But if it's easy, here's a 5-3-8 easy, 8-8 easy 8, 5-3-8. Most of the time, it's the big number first, then the small number. The exception to that is the ace deuce, because it sounds cool. Ace deuce, or I say the 1-2-3, right? That's the one I think where you'll sometimes hear them call the smaller number first, but generally speaking, it's the big number ahead of the small number called by the stick man. And that's kind of what we do most of the time. Now, when I'm logging throws, I generally speaking, when I'm doing my practice, I use 2 dice, and I also will use different colored dice. Left and right, a lot of folks will use a left and right die like we're doing here, different colors. When I stack them, to me, it's top and bottom die. I'll call my numbers based on left, right, or bottom. So if I rolled, let's say this, I would say 2-3-5. I'd call it out 3-2-5, right, for this, but I'm going to log a 2-3 because I care about which die is going into the computer in which order, because it does matter what the bottom die and the top die did in a stack. It does matter what the left and right die did on a regular throw. So dice controllers or dice influencers are going to definitely log left and right exactly, or top and bottom exactly. But the stick man will always call it out, big number, small number. It's a 3-2, 3-2-5. Hope that clarifies a little bit of how all that works, because it can be confusing. And I know that folks like Jeff and myself, we often make assumptions as to what people know, and we're just kind of throwing it out there. We all just kind of talk and say our things, but it's good for you to call me back and say, please explain what that all means. So there we go. All right, let's get back to the regular table now, and let's throw the dice. Now, I didn't log in the numbers from this morning, the warm-up session, into the roll tracker, only because the setup for the computer isn't easy to do that with. The way the morning part, the way the first set of scenes works, I'll get better at doing that. That was actually a good roll today. So with that said, we're out on a regular rollout here. What time is it? I see how much time I got left. I got, oh good, 15 minutes or so. Let's have a quick little rollout. Let's talk about playing with a short stack from the nightmare scenario. All right, here we go. Let's see. I'm going to empty out my rack. My rack had money from yesterday in it. So let's go ahead and short stack ourselves with 150. And today, let's take the assumption, not that we won 100 and we won 300 and we have this excess profit. We could be really, really nilly yesterday. Today, I want to say we bought him for $1,000 and now we have 150. We worked really hard to turn 1,000 into 100.5, which is not a great day, obviously. So now our short stack play is different. Our mindset's got to be really, really different here, because this is it. It's all you got left. And people who ask me all the time, what's your stop loss? My stop loss as a player, my stop loss is this, right? If you're coming to the casino, and Lou asked this question kind of earlier, and you say, hey, I'm going to play 10 shooters, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to play 10 shooters at $100 each. We're going to go 96 across 10 times. That's my strategy. I watched a YouTube video and I'm going to go 96 across. I'm going to go 10 times, shit run or go blind. If that's your way of playing, that's your mindset, and you lose 5 in a row and you say, oh my God, I'm scared to death, I'm going home, and you take your $500 and you leave, then you shouldn't have bought in for $1,000. Why? Why? Why would you say I'm going to play 10 times and then only play 5? The purpose of playing something 10 times in a row is you're saying, well, it might take me till person number 8 to make money. Last night or the night before in my rollout, I got beat on 4 of my first 6 tries. My 7th shooter was an 11 roller, and my 8th shooter was a 36 roller where I hit the all, tall, small, and 2 repeaters. You're doing 10 to get to that one. So to me, your stop loss, to me, my personal advice is 0. If I'm only willing to lose 500, that's all I'm buying in for. This other 500 stays in my pocket for a later session. If I'm willing to lose 500, that's my buy-in. Now let's assume we bought in for $1,000 like we had here, and you lost it all. You're down to your last 150. You played 96 across, and you got beat 9 times, and you got $150 left in your life. How are we going to play that out? What are we going to do now? Because again, stop loss 0 means you got to try it either one last time, or you're going to switch things up and say, let's turn this 150 somehow into something else. And how are you going to go ahead and do this? You cannot be aggressive. You can't come out here and go 160 across, going 110 inside. That's a degen move. You're just going to drop it all in there and say, well, let's see what the dice can do for me, right? Maybe the discretion being the better part of valor. What you might do with this 150 is start breaking the quarters down. Okay, let's get nickels for a quarter. And what I do, the way I'll say this to my dealers sometimes, because you can't make your own change at a casino. You got your 150 sitting here. I'll drop a quarter, and maybe I'll wait for a point. I won't even play the point unless I really feel like the table's going south. I might say, change please, 10 on the don't. And what they'll do is they'll cut out 25 bucks and they'll do this to you. They'll put 10 and throw you change. Okay, tell them what you want when you want change. They'll place your bet and throw you the change back. Okay, so I'll often do that. Change please, 10 on the don't, and I'll do that. If it's the points established, what I'll often say if I don't have a line bet, I'll say $10 coming in change please, and they'll drop me 15 bucks. They'll take my quarter, and they'll drop 10 to come. They'll make the change for you as you make your requests. All right, so here what we're going to do is this. We're going to say $10 table. I'm going to come out on the don't. Ostensibly, if I've lost everything, I'm down to 100.5. Table's gone south. I'm going to play a little bit from the don't. What I might do is a don't pass and a small come ladder to kind of keep myself safe on a short roll. All right, let's get the puck off. We'll see what happens here. Let's come out to a new point. And again, here we are, short stack, right? You're having a bad day, and we get a 5-2-7 on the come out, which of course they're going to take your freaking money, right? Let's do it again. No more than twice, right? When I'm short stacking like this, I'm not going to get beat by the same person 2 times. I'll sit it out. Okay, there's a 7, 6-1-7. So we're done, right? This shooter here, no more of my money is going to this guy. 6-1-7. Okay, at least down here. I'm going to bypass the come out roll now. He's already burned me twice on that come out 7. I can't go in there again. What I could do is move into some other bets here, but tread lightly. 6-3-9. 6 into 3. There's a 9. So what I may do here, given that we just saw 2 7s, is get a little bit of come, don't come going, right? I might drop a quarter and say 10 coming, please. They'll drop 10, return me my change. I'll get 10 in the come. Again, $10 table here. And I'll play it nice and easy and safe. $15 back to my rack. 9 is logged. 5-1-6, that's great. The comeback goes to the 6. Now again, short stack play. 5-1-6. Do I have enough money in my rack to place odds on that? It's a risky move with a short stack, right? It's the mathematical right way to play. But at this point in time, I'm not ready to do this yet. Matter of fact, what I might do is play a little bit of hedge right here and drop a little bit into the don't, right? I may go come, don't, come like that just to get some action on the 7 here early and see what happens to me. What do we have? We have a 6-3-9. 6-9. Good thing we're off the don't. That would have taken our don't money from that shooter. Don't come moves to the 9. and I have a come bet on the 6. Now, here's the interesting situation. When you're playing both sides like this, you're in kind of a weird spot here. You're in kind of a weird spot where the come out 7 essentially becomes a tie for you. Normally what I do when I have money in my rack, when I'm here on a come bet, I'll drop odds onto the 6 and let them work on the come out. I think that's a great play. I think my odds on the 6 are a good play anyway. I'll let them work where I can. However, I've got this 7 right here on the 9, or playing the 7 against the 9 right here. I kind of feel like in this situation, I'm going to let that ride out. And again, I'm short stacked. I don't have a lot of money to make big decisions with here. So we're going to let the 6 pay us flat. Whatever, we'll lose our edge on that bet back there. But I want the 9 to be a winner for me, or at least in this case, a tie for me. In fact, I may consider doing this just for the come out. I may lay against on that one number for the come out just once. And frankly, with a short stack, what I would probably do is drop a quarter and say 15 odds, please. And they'll drop 15 behind, give me back 10. And for one roll and one roll only, I'm going to attack the 7 here, because if my 6 loses, I'll get paid on my odds. That's how I'm going to play this out. 5-2-7. Almost like I asked for it, right? 5-2-7. So what does happen is we lose our 6. We lose our come 6. We win the flat on the don't come 9. Those pay each other. That's fine. 15 in lay pays 10. So effectively speaking, we walk out of there with 20 bucks. And we're going to be kind of okay for the next shooter to come through. Okay, that's that shooter. He's done. Okay, it's a new shooter. You're welcome to go back to the don't if you feel like that's the right play for you. Here we go. 5 and a 5, that's a hard 10. And to answer the question that I'm sure is coming up, I had the no 9, I had the come 6. It was the new shooter coming through, or the same shooter coming through. That's why I didn't go back to the don't. Now that he's 7'd, we're good. All right, 5-5, hard 10. Did I mark that up? 5 and a 5. All right, here we go. I'm going to do one come bet. Again, playing it as safe as I possibly can. It goes to the 6. That's cool. Okay. I'm going to get one more DC bet, and then we're going to make a decision. That was a 5-1. 5-1 KitchenAid. We're going to call it the KitchenAid until we have a decision made. 5-3-8. All right, so cool. I've got a no 8, I got a no 10, and I got a let's go 6. I'm going to put odds up on my 6. Let that hang out. Let's get the 8 logged in there. 5-3-8. And again, the decision here on the 7. This is a great bet on the 7. That's a 1-to-1 payment for a 2-to-1 advantage. This is a 1-to-1 payment here when you have a lesser advantage. Laying odds up in here is not the worst move normally, but again, we have only 100 bucks in our rack. So laying odds here, not the greatest move when you have such a little bit of money. Again, here I'm taking single odds instead of 3, 4, or 5 times odds because again, my rack is short. I don't have enough money to keep investing over and over again. Big plays. Let's go. There's a 6. That's great. It pays us. And again, we took a little bit of a hit here. It's a 4-2-6. And I say we took a hit in terms of we left potential profit out there. We didn't take as much odds as we could have taken. That's going to pay 12 on the back, 10 for 12 for 10 back there. We didn't take as much odds as we could have taken. But again, I'm short. I don't have enough money here to really go after the odds hard. All right, come back to my rack is going to be, again, here's the 20 that I started with, right? That brings in nice little $22 profit for us, which helps a lot. Now, I've got 2 great bets on the 7. One come bet came in and paid. I'm going to go ahead and replace that come bet, and we'll play that a 1-point molly essentially with ourselves here until something happens. Hopefully, our shooter avoids that 10. Oh, bummer. 2-1-3. We lost 10 bucks. And when you're short stacking it, that hurts. I will come back in one more time, but no more than that. 2-1-3. All right, that moves to the 5. The come bet's on the 5 now. And again, $10 table, I would need to put at least 10 in odds on that to make it work. I don't know if it's worth it just yet. Again, I'm not playing with huge profit, but we did make some money. So I will go out there with it. Worst case scenario, we 7 out and it's all a tie, right? Best case scenario, we grab a 5 and piecemeal this thing together as we go, playing super, super safe here. There's a 9, a 5 and a 4. It's a 9. People say, why do you play the come instead of a place bet, especially with a short stack? Well, the reason why I do it when I'm short stacked is because it's so safe, it's so low volatility. Yeah, I could have placed the numbers that I wanted to, but I'm getting 7 action, I'm getting some horn number action in here. I'm picking up different plays, and I'm not putting a whole bunch of exposure out there at once. I don't want to have 44 of my 150 out there to get hammered early. I'm trying to build up to where I can play that, I think, more safely. There's a 6, a 3, and a 3, hard 6. While I'm doing this, think about it. What would you do with 150 on a $10 table? If it's your last 150, what do you do? There's a 4, 1, 5. So that's a good move there. That ends up paying us. Now I'm going to pay this like this. This would pay 10 flat, and then 10 pays 15 on the back end. I'm going to give myself a quarter. Okay, we'll color it up. 10 flat and 15 for 10 in the back. That brings back a quarter into the rack. Let's see where we landed so far. There's 100. There's 25. There's 50. So we have $150 of what we started with. That was our initial short stacked bankroll. I've got $7 in profit. Again, not going to buy much more than a coffee with that. And 20 bucks out here. So we got $25 in profit off our 150. Now think about that. Think long and hard about that. It seems like nothing, right? We have $27 out of 150. What percentage is that? It's like 1/6 of it or something like that, right? That's not terrible. That's not terrible at all. That's actually, we're working our way towards about a 15, I think it's 18 or 19%, right? If you can make 20% off of your short stack once, you can do it a second time. And that's why I'm playing so safe right here. Working it through. Now, our choice is to go back in, another comeback, or let the 7 run strong. I'm gonna let the 7 run strong here. Let the 7 go. We're 1, 2, 3. We are how many rolls in? We're 9 rolls into this shooter. We've exceeded probability. I know you guys can't see what I'm seeing on the screen, but I've got a little roll counter that tells me that. We're 9 rolls in. We've had 3 6s and 2 5s. I feel like it's time to let these 2 bets breathe on their own. You can't lose them both in one shot. Let them go, and they'll make a new decision coming through. There's a 3, 2, 5. 5 is running strong right now, isn't it? There's the 8, 6 into 2, that's an 8. We will lose that bet behind. Another 5. Wow, look at the 5. Look at the 5. 5, 5. 5 is paying strong. Another one. 4, 1, 5. Now, look at the repeater bet down there. The repeater on the 5, I think that's it, right? Is that 5 5s? That is 5 5, so that's the repeater. So if you're playing, and by the way, I should note this here. If I'm playing in Reno or a table that has a repeater bet, 100%, I'm dropping $6 out there out of my short stack and I'm playing the repeaters, right? I think that pays 45 to 1 or something like that. So I'm putting $1 on all the repeaters every single time for sure, because in the case of a hot roll like this, when you're short stacked especially, that could have brought in a nice chunk of change for us for very little investment. It's a way to capitalize on a long run where you don't have the money to play it. So the repeater bet, to me, is one of the best ways to play with a short stack looking for the long roll. There's a 9, 6, 3, 9. There's a 4, 3, 1, 4. We're gonna sit this out until the roll resolves. Like we said, we're not gonna change off of that strategy. There's an 8, 4, 4. The shooter's going off right now. Going off. Aces. Another 8. The 8's on the repeater too. 6, 2, 8. Do you want to get back in? Question for the group here. Do you want to get back in? Are you getting FOMO? Right? We're at roll 18 on this shooter. Right? We've seen a ton of 5s, a ton of 8s. Is it time to get back in? Should we have stayed in? Again, it's a bankroll decision. The craps player in you says, hell yeah, get in there. Right? Go inside. You're seeing 5s and 8s. You should have been playing inside the whole time. My rack says otherwise. My rack says I don't have the money to do that. We're going to play this carefully, right? And lock up what we can lock up. All right. I'm going to play it carefully. If anything, I would go another come bet and let the dice figure it out for me. I don't know. I like having my initial 150 safe with some money out there. However, I am feeling like this roll is going to end. I'm going to come back through here. This is a free bet or a safe bet because we have that down there. I'm going to come back to the don't. I'm not going to follow this front line trend here. Again, short stacking it. Let's go after it harder this time. Here we go. 5, back to the 5. That's a bad bet. That's going to come in here, and we're rolling a lot of 5s. 4, 1, 5. That bet's going to lose. I'm almost positive it's going to lose. Another 8. Woo! I think the 8 hit the repeater too. 6, 2, 8. Look at that. Did my 8 hit it? How many 8s we got? With 5, with one more 8, and we hit the repeater on the 8. There's the yo. There's the mid-mo. 6, 5. Do we have a call for the yo yet? I mean, mid-mo yo has changed the mixer into the KitchenAid. Is SciShow giving mid-mo yo a funny name for the 6-5 yet? Like a temporary whatever gack on it there. I told you we're gonna lose that bet, 5-3 or 3-2-5. Look at this shooter. Look at this shooter going off. Random Randy. Random Randy here is on roll 23 of this shot. That's amazing. That's amazing. You short stack guys, what are we doing here? Are we gonna burn and go in a little bit? Have we watched enough money go by that we didn't collect on? Is it time to be a degenerate and go, man, I need to be in here. Let's go see, let's do it. Let's go inside. Let's see what happens if we go inside late. Okay, we're gonna be, I need a couple of bucks. There we go. We're gonna go inside late. We're gonna read the table like children and go, oh shit, we're missing out. We're gonna go 44 inside now. Now we're gonna finally do it. Now we're gonna go. I'm down to 100 bucks. So I burned another 50 to chase this roll. I think it's the wrong play. It may make us money here, but you gotta either stick to what you're gonna do or ride it out. Here's a 3-2, that 2 is leaning. It says 10, there it is, 3-2-5. I'll take that, it's cool. We'll do 15 for 1 on that 5. And again, as a short stack person, that has got to be a collect. You've got to bring that back on all of these the first time. Might even pull back a little bit. Another one, 3-2-5. Here we go. There's a midnight, 6-6. What a roll. What a roll for Random Randy right here. 6-6 midnight. And there's an 8, 6-2-8. And the question for the group is this: what's my favorite point? You've all watched me long enough to know. What's my favorite point and why? While I'm paying myself here, we'll do again 15 for 1 out of the rack. And bring that back. 130 back here saved up. What's my favorite point and why? It's this one right here. And that play I told you was going to be a stupid play. 4-3-7. We finally lose out. My favorite point is a 10 or a 4 because obviously from here you get paid, which we love. There's the 1-to-1 back there on the don't. I like the 4 and 10 because generally speaking, they're hard to hit. So if you're going to be on a good roll like we just were, you're going to have more inside hits to kind of play with. Now, what happened here? We won 15 here. We won 15 here. And then we lost 44. So the net there is we're down 14 bucks on that inside play. We won 10 bucks from the don't. So we're down $4 after that transaction. Now, had we been out 44 inside earlier, we could have capitalized on that amazing run. But again, the short stack mentality has got to be a little bit safer than that. Here's 25. Here's 25. And we played a little bit. There's 50 bucks. We're back to 150 with $1 in profit. So we made $1 out of all that. We missed out on a huge roll, okay? When you're short stacking it and you're playing from a position of weakness, like we just did, you're gonna miss out on some stuff because you can't be aggressive, right? To go in full tilt, 44 inside on that first repeater would have been too early and too volatile for this bankroll back here. Okay, so playing with 150 is really, really hard. You got to kind of survive it. Now that we've seen that happen, right? Maybe next time we stay with the come bets, right? Come bet is so safe. One at a time, one at a time, one at a time. That 5 would have paid us 3 or 4 times. The 8 would have paid us 3 or 4 times. We would have been okay had we just stuck with the come bets. But after a couple of wins, right? And looking at the roll count and looking at my rack, it's like, well, maybe we should just kind of pull back a little bit and not be super crazy with it. Oh, look, the porn girls are back. If somebody can remove those chats, I'd appreciate that. So there's a little example, and again, we're kind of out of time here, so I can't play too much longer. But that's a quick little look at like mentality of a short stack. Let's go back and do it again. Let's get a new point, and I'm going to establish the same thing. We're going to drop a quarter. I'm going to say 10 on the don't please, and we're going to get $10 and 15 change. I'll take that back to my rack. Drop the quarter up here. Let's get another point. We'll play one more full cycle, and then we'll call it. Of course, after all that long ass roll, we're going to get beat here on the don't, on the come out. Of course, right? And what does VDC always say? Our friend Richard, all the time. Never forget this statement. The 7 out is followed by the come out 7 so often. It's a trend that's kind of universal. It happens all the time. You got to keep calling that out and seeing it when you see it. Okay, when you see that 7 out, not a bad play to drop $3 on the hop or whatever your minimum is there. Not a bad play. That happens more often than you probably think it does. All right, let's get out on an 8, 5, 3, 8. Okay, and again, we'll have 10 coming. 10 coming and 15 change. They'll take my quarter. Let's have one comeback come out, and we're going to do, I might even go 2 points here. We'll see. Let's get that 8 logged in. 5 and a 3. There's a 2, 1, 3, so we're going to get beat twice by the shooter. Once on the don't on a come out, once in the come on a come out. Gross. Really, really gross. I will give him one more shot, and then we're going to see what happens. It's 2, 1, 3. How many times have I done this exact thing in a casino? 3, 2, 5, where I've been down to almost nothing, and I'm like, I'm not going to try and outthink it. I'm just going to go come, 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 and it seems to work out more often than you think it does. This is a simple way to play, and it begets the question, right? If it works on a short stack, why wouldn't it work on a huge stack? Well, when you have a bigger stack, you want more flexibility. This is an inflexible way to play, but it's relatively safe. All right, here we go. Come in. Did I mark that in? I did. There's a 5. That's a nice exchange right there. 4, 1, 5. So what happens is our come bet gets paid. The don't come moves into the 5. I'm going to put a come bet out there again and take $10 back to my rack. That's a really good exchange. Yeah, I want to have one don't or 2 don'ts total and 1 come. I may on the next one, if we get another hit here, start placing come bets with it. I'll show you how I do that. There's going to be a 6. I will drop 10 in odds on that 6. 7 comes here. Worst case scenario is we tie. We get paid, we lose. It's a tie. So what? The 6 repeats. We get a nice little extra $12 there. It's great. And then I'll start picking some inside stuff out. If we can get some hits in here, I'll start picking up insides with it. 4, 2, 6. Here we go. 5, 3, 8. That's the point. That's a bummer. 5, 3, 8. So this shooter now has beat me on the come out and on the point. I'm done down there. Right? These 2 bets here will reign supreme. And what I'm going to do again is I got to make a decision. Am I playing for the come out 7? Right? Moving the odds behind the 5? Or am I going to leave my 6 odds up? What's more likely to happen? God only knows. The most likely thing to happen is that we see a 7. So I'm going to go ahead and drop a quarter and ask for 15 odds behind the 5. They're going to drop another nickel down there and give me back 20. For one roll, we're going to play this. Let's get that 8 logged in. There's a yo. Natural come out. 6, 5 yo. There's the 6. We picked the wrong one, but that's okay. That's a 5, 1, 6. It's fine. We picked the wrong horse to ride. I'll take that back in. I'm going to take my odds down off that 5, Put 10 more in the come. Actually, let's take that 6 money that we got paid on. We got paid on the 6. Let's grab the 8 with it. Let's do this. Let's take that come win that we just got. I'll drop 5 to get caps on there. And we'll move from a come bet into a small town place better. A little bit of hybrid play here. Let's transition those come wins and see if we can make something out of it. There's an 8. Yeah. 6 to 8. What's my point? My point is 6. 6 to 8. That'll pay 14 bucks. Okay. I'm going to take a collect on the first one. The second one, we're going to grab another number. Ease into this damn thing, shall we? 6 to 8. Got work to do. We got beat too many times in here. There's a 516. That's good. 516. Like the 8, we'll take $1 and take 15 bucks in profit. I'm going to put that in the rack. Puck is going to be off. Place bets are off, which means that bet rides alone. Happy about that. I don't need to put odds on it to make up for anything. Just got to come out 7 if we can. 6, 6, 12. 617. Beautiful. 617. That's going to pay. It's going to pay the no 5. Sweet. That comes off the table. Now I can take that same 10 bucks and use it in a minute here for another inside bet. That bet kind of paid for something else to be played. And that's how I'm going to play this the rest of the way through. 617 on the come. 415. Good timing there, huh? 415. That's our new point. Let's take the 10 bucks we just took out of that win and we'll grab the 9 with it. Okay. And in my rack, just to give you a sense of where we are, there's 50 bucks in reds. That's 125 in green. So we're basically back to where we started this roll with, even though we got beat a couple times. We're inching our way forward here. Hard 10, 5 and a 5. There's a 9, a 5 and a 4. That's a 9. Again, 15 for 1. They've all been collected on once. Now they can all be pressed up. Now we're going to start working it. In fact, I'm going to take this $25 in red, put it in the back of my rack. There's the 150 we started this shooter with. So I've got, again, like 9 bucks there, and I've got $34 out here. So we're doing okay. We've actually made pretty good money here on this short stack. We're doing fine. Might be time to pick up a 9 here coming through. Or a 5 rather. 5, 4. Let's avoid that. See, that's a bummer. 5, 2, 7. Bad time for it. Right? On a short stack, again, my next move here was to press or spread. Probably spread to the 5 on the next hit there to get to 44 to start working it. When you're at this level, it's hard. It's hard to build up, but we did it. We actually did. We made money. Didn't make a lot. We made 9 bucks. But effectively, had we decided to say enough is enough, let's pull this back, look where we got to. There's 25, 35, 43 bucks out in the felt. I'll spread it out for you. So we turned 150 into $1, and then we turned 150 into $43 in profit. At the short stack play, maybe pulling that down might have been the better option there and waiting it out. Right? Maybe pulling that down. I wish we were a little higher at like 66 to go down to 44. But again, our stack wasn't letting us play that. We're still here. We still got our 150, whatever that is, to keep playing. Right? We're still surviving here. And again, turning a couple of come bets into place bets, letting the place bets ride out that don't come paid us. It was actually a pretty good little run there to get us to where we were playing with almost 44 inside at no risk. So we worked our short stack to a risk-free right side play. Happy with that. All right, come on back over here. All right, yes, Darksider says, when the 7s are trending back to back, great bet to go lay the back line. However, when you only have 150 in your rack, you cannot do that. Right? You just can't, there's not enough money in your rack to do it. So that's why I was kind of deciding between like, do I lay the 5 or not for the come out roll? Luckily, when we had place bets, it made that decision kind of easy. So, all right, there we go. Let's get back here. And Yeah, let's look at the chats real quick to see if there's anything I'm missing. PC. Remember, if you want to catch me in chat, put PC in front of the chat message, and I'll be able to filter and find them very quickly. Let's see. Ian says to me, it's funny, I don't get many of those chips from the lip. He's talking about my Talelip good luck chip. That's my YOLO stack that I have out there, so it makes it easy for me to kind of bring that back every time. That $5 find was actually pretty cool. Duracell, if I had 500 table and 200 in my rack, you never know when the roll will end. It's hindsight. It is total hindsight. And in that particular case yesterday, I had 200 in profit plus 150 in front. I had the 150 that was going to be able to play it again plus 200 in profit. I actually had 350 in the rack and 480 out there. You know, once you've locked in the excess profit like that, I feel like it's okay. It's funny money at that point. If you're okay with it, totally cool. So, any other questions that came up during the show here? Looks like no. On Point saying call it the Dancing Queen. That's funny. All right, what else do we have? Midmo Yo wants to know, do you think more DI are, they're 100% light side players. DIs are, most DIs that I know will play hardcore dark side on almost everybody else because they don't trust anybody, and hardcore inside across on themselves. So they're definitely light side players, and most of them are hardcore light side players. Like even me. When I'm throwing well, you know, I'll go 160. Out of my rack, I'll go 160 or 320 across. Go high, come down, and play it from there. I trust myself for 1, 2, or 3 rolls most of the time. That's what most DIs do. They're going to play some kind of high-level regression strategy. It's that PSO that kills you, for sure. Darksider says, can I do my dice tossing sessions in the evening, earlier in the evening during weekdays, so folks that aren't up that late? The only reason why I'm doing it at night, honestly, is because my schedule. So my schedule is this. I have the show. I go to work at about 9 o'clock. I work till about 5. After work, break for dinner usually. I come back and I do another couple hours of work because I have a second like side hustle job that I do. And I'll work till about 8 or so. Then my wife and I will watch baseball. We always watch the Mariners. So I watch baseball from 8 to about 10:30. And depending on how the game's going, that's when I go out to the garage and play. So it's basically, it's about getting work in and having family time before I go out there. If the Mariners are off like they are tonight and we're not doing anything as a family, playing games or whatever, then I'll go out there earlier. But it's really schedule dependent. That's why I go out so late. Not on purpose to try and hide. It's just the way my day works. So, all right, I think that's it, everybody. I had nothing else to say. That was a long show. A lot of talking in the beginning there. We're a little bit over time. But I hope you had fun. I hope that was enlightening and fun and educational all at the same time. So with that said, I've got to get out. I got to go to work. Our SRR today, by the way, we went up. Our SRR now is at 628. We had that one awesome roll, which really kind of bumped things up. So I'll show you the stats here tomorrow. But now we're at 182 rolls on our way to 10,000 purely random rolls from the morning show. So that's it all. Have a great Thursday. I'll see you tonight for some live rolling. I'll see you tomorrow morning again for Friday Follies. Short week, and then we Friday night fights tomorrow night. So a lot of crap's happening in our world. Y'all have a great day. Love every one of you. Thanks for being subscribers. And again, tell your friends about Casino Gaming TV. I want to get this channel built up. So big things coming. Have a great day, y'all. See you later. Bye.